What's up, guys? It's Dyfex here again. So today I want to talk about the arrangement of a dubstep drop I made earlier today. I kind of want to run through all the elements and kind of break it down for you guys and show you guys the patches I made. And basically all the knowledge I have is from watching Virtual Riot and AU5 live stream and just kind of trial and error and my own experience messing around. So yeah, I'll play a little preview of it and then I'll break it all down for you guys. Alright. Alright, sounding pretty good so far. Okay, so first things first, we'll start with the drums. So let's see. I'm pretty sure most of you know how this works. But yeah, we're 150 BPMs, by the way. Okay, so first off, it's just the kick and snare. Halftime. And then also I have another snare layered under this one, and I like to call it a fake snare because it's kind of a little higher pitched and it has some reverb on it. And this is what it sounds like. It's just kind of nice to add in there. And then we have our hi-hats, 2 closed hi-hats and 1 open. Actually, that probably shouldn't be there. That should be right there. Yeah, alright. And then we have a variance over here. Just a couple more kicks. So yeah, there's that. And then we have our crashes. One's hitting on the kick and one's hitting on the snare. So we get this effect. And then we have a reversed. A reverse crash. And then over here, we have a little breakbeat fill that I made. So yeah, there's that. And now I'll go over some of the kind of ambient stuff. So this right here, yeah, let's just mute that. So it's just a high-pitched note that's on the root note. It's just like an F. And what that is it's a serum. And basically I think it's just a normal sawtooth wave. And it's just detuned a little bit on oscillator A. And then we have a sync no window. And it's just turned up a little bit. And then we have our LFO on the level, and it's kind of just acting as a sidechain. Then we have oscillator B. It is also a sawtooth wave, and it's doing the same thing with the LFO, except it's detuned to 6, or the unison's to 6, and then it's a little more slightly detuned, and they're both about 2 octaves up. And then it's just an MG low 12 on our filter. And the LFO is just linked to it. A and B are routed through it. And then in here we just have a hyper dimension, and then multi-band compression, some reverb, and then some delay, and then some flanger. That's basically that. And this is basically just like background, just kind of adding as a filler. And then we have our arpeggio, excuse me. And that's just kind of hitting the root note, starting on the root note, and it's just in the scale, the F minor scale. It's very high pitched and kind of quiet just for the background. And then we have a chord stab. Which also is serum. Oh, excuse me, actually I need to run through this for you guys so you guys can see how I did this. This is pretty simple. So I think I just used this, the basic MDC. Again, no sync, or sync with no window. And then we're using envelope 2 on the sync, and then the levels, and then on the cutoff of our filter, and then drive. It's about 3 octaves up. Again, hyper dimension, compressor, multi-band compressor, and a flanger negative for our filter in here, and then the envelope 2's linked to the cutoff, resonance, and drive. And then we have our reverb, and then delay. Actually could turn the delay up a little more. So yeah, it's pretty simple. It's just a filler again. And then we have our stabs right here. Our chord stabs. These are pretty simple too, just sawtooth waves. One's 2 octaves up. Oscillator B's 1 octave up. The unison's at 3 on oscillator A. And then we're detuned just a slight bit. And then the unison's on 6 on oscillator B, and it's detuned quite a lot. And not too much going on in the effects tab. Just dimension again, multi-band compression. Actually no, it's not even multi-band compression, it's just compression. And then some reverb. And then we're just hitting a basic triad for our chord. Basic F minor triad. And this is what we got so far when you play them all together. We'll play it with our drums now. So yeah, we got that. Let's see what else we have. Oh, we have another background filler right here. Usually I wouldn't use cymatics stuff, but I'm just doing it for the tutorial. Why not? I usually would make this stuff myself, but fuck it. And pretty much just cutting the lows out. Have an OTT on it, downward 15%, the depth's 30, and our time is all the way up to 1000. And then it's just being sidechained with the LFO tool. So yeah, let's play all these guys together. So we have that. And then we have some chants over here. Let's play these guys by themselves. On the offbeat. One is its normal pitch, and then the second one is just pitched down a little bit to 600 cents, negative 600 cents. And basically what I got these guys doing, they're both routed into my Vox bus over here. And I have a serum effects on it. Kind of cutting out the low, some dimension again, multi-band compression and reverb. And then this delay, which is turned to link, and the left and right are like down to 22.8%. And then mix is turned up and the feedback's turned up. And that kind of gives it that weird, like, robotic sound, I guess you could say. So yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. It has an OTT on it, being multi-band compressed again. So yeah, there's that. It's basically all the fillers. So cool. And then we have this little thing right here, right at the end of our bar. These are some things I grabbed out of my contact library. Let's pause that. They're just sweeps pretty much to go into the next transition. Things like that will really help for your transitions, so keep that in mind. So yeah, I think we'll move on to the basses now. That's the exciting part. Okay, so our first bass is being pitched down. Oh, wait a second. Gotta turn on the automation for it. So yeah, there's a little bit going on with this bass here. So this is our pitch right here. Let's look at it in serum. So what's going on here is if you go to the matrix and somewhere in here, okay, it's LFO tool 2. And then I went to here to the slider and then pitched it up an octave, or set it to an octave up, and then you go here and then you go to global master tune and then assign macro 1, so you can have it like turn off and on when as you please, because you don't always like want it pitching down just for like the first initial hit usually. So it's being pitched down a little bit. This is like our pitch envelope, our LFO 2. So let's play that really quick. And then our macro 2 is automating the wavetable position. Same as the filter on the cutoff, and then the frequency. And then it's doing the same over here. We have a flanger plus, and it's doing it on the cutoff. And then our LFO1 is linked to all this, the wavetable position, the bend plus, the level, the sync, the level on oscillator B, our cutoff, our resonance, and frequency and drive in the filter, and then some noise. And then our LFO is linked to all this stuff in here. The frequency of our EQ. This thingy, I don't know what it is. The threshold of our compressor. And then again on the cutoff, the resonance and drive on the filter. And then we have some phase or phaser. The LFO is on the mix, the phase, the frequency, and the depth. And then we're kind of doing the same thing with the delay here again. Link 26.79%. And then some flanger. And then there's a little processing going on as well. So what's going on in here is we're just cutting off the low at about 100 hertz. And then we have a fab filter, and then that's doing some automation. This is with it off. It's just adding a little subtlety to it and the kind of like growly vowel sound, I guess. And then our sub bass is pretty much pitching down with it. And how you do that, some of you guys don't know this, is you go to mono and then legato and then turn it up a bit to your liking, to where it's just sliding with your pitch down bass. So yeah, we got that. And then we have our second bass here, which basically is just going like this. Let's see. It's pretty simple. Again, the sub bass is going along with it. And that bass, I don't think I made my own wavetable for that. I just used the Monster 8. And what we're doing here, let's see. We're FMing from A. And then we have, again, sync with no window. And then our LFO is linked to the wavetable position, the sync of oscillator A. And then on the FM from A, on oscillator B, and then the level. And then oscillator A also is 2 octaves up as well. When you FM from A and you have your octave up or down, it can kind of like mess with the sound dramatically. Like, I'll just demonstrate for you guys. So it's just kind of picking your liking if you want it more high pitched or lower. So yeah. And then our LFO is on our filter cutoff, and then drive again. A and B are both routed through it. LFO is linked to our frequency, both frequencies in our EQ. Dimension again, distortion on the threshold of our multiband compressor, and our cutoff, resonance, drive, and frequency on the filter again. Reverb, doing the same thing with the delay, and then the phase. You guys can see where it's all linked. So yeah, that's that bass. And also over here we have it changing up a little bit just so it's not exactly the same. I think I have a macro linked to the rate. Yeah, it's linked to the rate, so it's going a little faster on this section. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Okay, so our third bass is right here at our transition. That would be our bass 5. And it's a solid phase. We're kind of just doing the same thing as all the other basses. I'll let you guys look at it. Basically the same thing as the other ones, just a little different. So yeah, there's that. And then we come back to our pitch down bass again. You kind of want some familiarity, I noticed, in dubstep. Because if everything's like too crazy and just not like following a pattern, I guess you can say, you kind of get lost. And your ears will definitely know it. So yeah, and then we're doing it again here. That's the same bass as our beginning bass. It's just not pitching down. And then we have a LFO on the rate. Or excuse me, a macro on the rate. Controlling the rate. And then this bass here is a little different. Basically the same thing as all the other ones. Our LFO is just linked to all that. What's mainly making the sound different is just our wavetable. So yeah, there's that. And then we have this one. And this one is pitching down as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is. It's pitching down. It's just the same thing where you go into the matrix and then you assign it to the global master tune and all that. Same thing going on here. I think I actually cloned this one from the one before I just showed you guys. I just changed a couple things. And then these ones over here are actually basses I made from an other project. They're just bounced out. This one's kind of pitching up. They're basically just out of my sound pack I've been starting that I'm going to release here in a couple months once it's finished. And these are some of the basses in it from my other projects. So yeah, that's some of those basses. So yeah, that's basically it. I'll play it again for you guys. And then I'll kind of show you what I did in the mixer. And usually you'd pretty much like clone all this. And then have a whole nother section going to 16 bars. Except over here, I mean, you'd have it a little the same, and then just have some variances and basses, like doing different rhythms and stuff like that. Some people just go to 16 bar, and then other times they'll go all the way to 32. That's about the longest you want your drop. I think 32 is pretty nice though, because you can get like a lot of different variances in your drop. So yeah, that's basically the arrangement. Every time it ends, you have a little fill or some wonky kind of bass, just to kind of like fill in the transition. You could have like some lead here or whatever. You can go crazy with it. So yeah, here, let me get rid of this really quick. Alright, so let's move on to our mixer. I'm sure some of you guys already know how all this works. So I'll start the kick. Usually I would do more to all of this, but I'm not really doing much. Just kind of taking out the low end a little bit on our kick. Just the subsonic frequencies we really don't need. Usually around like 40 hertz, 35. Same as the sub bass. Oh, and you also want your sub bass and your kick in mono, just so it separates them and they sit better in the mix. And then our sub, it's basically, oh wait, okay. So yeah, 30, cutting out the low end, 35 hertz. Probably should do it over here too, like about like that. Cutting out all the high frequencies in it. And our snare, some OTT, a transient master. If some of you guys don't have this, you could use the transient processor. It'll do the same exact thing. Just beefing up your transient. OTT. Just like kind of cutting out the lows again. Boosting the fundamental hit of our snare. I think the same thing's going on in our fake snare, along with our reverb. I'm just kind of doing the same thing with everything else, taking out the lows, our hi-hats. Same with the crashes. Our basses, taking out the lows. Yeah. Same thing here with our arpeggio and our chord stab, our background ambient sound, and then yeah, I already showed you guys the Vox. And then the basses, they're all running through the bass bus over here. I have an isotope ozone 7 on it. And basically what this is doing, let me play the basses by themselves. Let me get these guys. So what's going on with the ozone? Is I have an imager on it, and if I silence the low end, I'm pretty much pulling it down so it's mono. See, if you pull it up, it becomes stereo. You don't want stereo in your low end, so it's mono. Then you come over here to our mids. Yeah, our mids. And I'm kind of pulling it down a little bit so it's not so stereo. I mean, it's still pretty stereo, but and then over here, silence our mid highs. It's a little more wider, and then same with our highs. So yeah, that's pretty much all that's doing. Running through a OTT again. And then a FabFilter Saturn, which is just saturation. It's pretty much just adding color to the basses. So if I turn all these off, it'll sound a little different. Definitely not as bright. And usually I'll do a lot more processing in this if it's like a serious track. I just kind of had to be a little choosy with what I used for this tutorial because I have a shitty computer and my CPU will just go fucking crazy, especially when I'm recording, because OBS takes up a lot of CPU as well. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. Yeah, I think that's it. Play it one more time for you guys. Yep, there goes my CPU. Alright guys, well, I think that covers everything. If you guys liked the video, give it a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Take it easy, guys.